Hello and welcome to the Voice of Reason. My name is WJWM, Jeff John Mwanamzaledo. Our topic today is natural health and what normally other people call herbalism. Today, we have on our bench Dr. Mwangi Jorori Mutahi. Dr. Jorori, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Jeff. Good to be here.
Yeah. Now, Dr. In this topic today, I would first of all want you to introduce yourself to the Voice of Reason. You can tell us about your education background and then about yourself. Welcome to the Voice of Reason.
Thank you, Jeff. I'm so glad to be here and to be discussing a very important subject which is very dear to me on the issue of health. I am a native of Mokorini in Nyeri. That's where I did my basic education and then proceeded to the University of Nairobi where I did a degree in chemistry and later on proceeded to the State University of New York, that is in the United States, where I did my master's degree and also a PhD degree, both in chemistry, specifically organic chemistry.
Okay.
And then after that, I worked for quite a long time in the US pharmaceutical industry, doing research in pharmaceuticals. Before I then decided to relocate back here home to pursue research in therapy, but specifically in natural therapy, alternative therapy, complementary therapy, depending on how you want to take it, and what other people call herbalism.
For the sake of my audience, Dr.
Yes.
I think it would be important to revisit your stay in the US.
Yes.
And
yes.
You can tell us how long did you stay in the US pharmaceutical industry? Were you researching for universities there or for the factories? Or how was it and how long was your stay?
I was in the US for about 15 years. About 4 of that, of course, I was at the university where I was doing research pertaining to my degree. And then after that, I worked in the pharmaceutical industry as a senior scientist, specifically in the area of allergy and immunology. Yes.
Okay. Dr. Now, in this topic that we're having today on natural health, many people in Kenya doubt herbal medicine. And I would like you to tell us today, do you believe in herbal medicine yourself? And do you believe that it can be able to help in the challenges of the diseases that we are facing here today, like cancer? It is most rampant. Diseases like hypertension, diabetes, asthma, and so on and so forth. What is your take on herbal medicine?
Yeah, herbal medicine, natural therapy, like I said, depending on how you want to take it, I believe in it 100%, and that's why I'm a practitioner. I'm the director of the Healthy Living Center in Nyeri, where we deal with issues specifically of nutrition and natural therapy. We have natural products that mitigate against various disease conditions like asthma, arthritis, prostatitis, allergies. We do that. So we are practicing it. We have positive results all around. So I'm definitely a believer of it. But let me say, though, that all of us, whether we are in denial or not, every human being is a practicing herbalist. Because when you eat sukuma wiki, when you eat cabbages, when you eat onions, when you eat garlic, of course those are herbs or plant-based products, and basically that is herbalism. I think the controversy comes in when you now talk of using plant-based products for therapy, for treatment. And this is something that has been done for ages. It's not anything new. I think what is new is that maybe some people have started to commercialize it, while obviously in the previous times or in older times, people actually give these services almost for free. And then also, I think what has happened is, because of the modern medicine, what we call the Western medicine, we have started now to disregard these natural therapy or natural way of maintaining good health. But I think what is important to understand is that the modern medicine, the Western medicine, and the natural therapy, what I like natural therapy, which can be either alternative or complementary. Alternative, we are using it exclusively for your health needs.
Let me cut you a bit.
Yes, yes.
You are using some terms that the Kenyan out there need to get very clearly.
Yes, yes.
You're talking of complementary.
Yes.
You're talking of alternative.
Alternative, yes.
I would want you to define them properly.
Yes.
When you talk of complementary, what do you mean? And when you talk of alternative therapy, what do you mean?
Yes. When you are into natural therapy, what I say, some people call it herbalism, is that you could be exclusively using that for your health needs, meaning that you are not taking this modern medicine or Western medicines.
Oh, I get
Then
it.
in that case, is alternative therapy.
Yes.
On the other hand, you could be balancing between the two.
Yes.
And that is exactly what we do at the Healthy Living Center in Nyeri.
Yes.
When you come to us and you have a condition, for instance, you are diabetic or you're hypertensive, we don't discontinue you from taking your medications.
Okay.
We complement those medications with products that boost your immune system, that boost your body's ability to fight various ailments. And so in that case now, because we are using both therapies, we call it complementary.
So they are complementing each other.
Therapy.
Yes.
And by doing that, we have seen a lot of positive results in a lot of disease conditions.
Okay.
Ultimately, when we treat you, depending of course on your age, depending also on how advanced the ailment is, we are able to treat you to a point whereby you may not need to take these medications.
Okay.
But if you are to stop taking those medications, it will have to be done in a scientific way. It's not chest thumping. We are not guessing that because we are going to give you this, your body is going to respond this way. Because every individual is different. Every disease condition is different. And some of us have more than one disease conditions. Some of us have diseases which we are not even aware of. Obviously, you mentioned cancer, and cancer is very, very important. Yeah. But remember, most of us are walking around with cancer in our bodies, but we are not aware until now we get diseased. We are in that condition now where we feel that our bodies are not functioning normally. Of course, you go and get tested, and then it's discovered that you are in either stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4. But when you use natural therapy, of course, coupled with eating well, proper nutrition, you are drinking enough water, you are managing your stress levels, then you can get your body in such a situation whereby you are not just living disease-free, but you have what we call the vitality, the body's vitality. Yeah.
So the body...
And that is how God intended us to live. God intended us to live healthy. But the human beings they are so smart, they can defy nature.
Okay.
Instead of living and eating appropriately, it's sort of we are experimenting with ourselves in very many ways, unfortunately.
Quite clear, Daktari. I think that's quite clear. Alternative and complementary
but natural therapy, that is.
But in natural therapy.
Natural therapy.
That's quite clear.
Yes.
Now, in other words, you encouraging Kenyans to embrace this what you're calling natural therapy. And you would want to tell them that the Daktari of today, who is doing natural therapy, is not the same old medicine man. That used to be called Muganga or Mitishamba. It's called Mitishamba.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the practice you're talking about, when you eat appropriately, you eat appropriate food. That is food that is not processed, food that is not chemicalized. Obviously, you're practicing good health.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we mistake good health by going to the physician and getting medication. Yes. But when you eat appropriately, you drink enough water, because a lot of us are dehydrated. A lot of people don't drink enough water. And then you also try to manage the stress levels. Then you are likely now to be in good health condition. Now, you talk of the history of herbalism and quacks and, lack of quacks. I think one of the big problems that has happened in our society is that we did not mainstream the indigenous knowledge. This knowledge has always been there from the time of Jesus Christ and beyond. But what has happened is, because of various reasons, because of various historical reasons, we did not mainstream the knowledge, whereby if you go into a certain area, for instance, you'd find that there are medicinal trees. But young people growing up and going to school in that area, they are not aware of the potential.
They have no idea what these trees are.
Because we have tended to equate natural therapy or herbalism with primitivity.
Exactly.
With primitivity. And what happened before is that those people who dropped off school
Yes.
at various stages, started 7, started 8, from 4, and who did not have opportunities for further education, because they happen to be around there, close to nature, around with the environment in their rural areas, they tended to acquire some of these knowledges, and then obviously they would be in there trying to help patients. But obviously now where we are in terms of the advancement of science, you have people who have studied to the level of PhD and studies even beyond their PhD studies, who have familiarized themselves with natural therapy methods. So we need the government to come in and appreciate that these are natural resources that we have. They are also economically beneficial, because when you treat people and they are healthy, obviously they'll be more productive. Of course, you also spend raise money on them in hospitals, on medications and accommodation in hospitals. So we need that to come forward, and we need a system. And unfortunately, the skepticism that you are talking about obviously has permeated our entire society.
True.
So I would imagine even the bureaucrats who are making decisions even in the ministries, particularly in the Ministry of Health, they are also caught up in this warped thinking. They have not realized this potential. But there's always time for everything. I think this is something that we should include even in our curriculum for the primary schools and secondary schools. And more importantly, we should bring in the government to regularize the practice of natural therapy.
Very true. I feel you. I feel you, Daktari. I feel you. And I think it's quite true what you've said. That I think the stigma on herbal medicine is quite much in this country, and I think the government has not come in to help either. And therefore, I agree with you that something needs to be done either by the whole society, but the government must be in the forefront. But first, they need to appreciate that their minds, like what you are representing here, and it should be respected and even protected, and even you need to be given more space. Now we'll come to that, Daktari. But before we go deeper into how government can come in, I need to take you back to what you mentioned. You said you are running something in Nyeri. What did you say? You are the director of what?
Healthy Living Center.
Healthy Living Center.
Healthy Living Center. I'm the founding director. Our interest is in nutrition. We have a problem in our society of eating too much, too frequently, and eating the wrong foods. And when we do that, we deny our bodies the appropriate nutrients that the body needs to preserve good health. The body needs to be able to repair and renew the body cells, and we can only do that efficiently when we are eating the right foods. Now, what happens now in our society today, we are eating a lot of processed foods. What are processed foods? These are foods that have gone through machines. They have had some of the nutritional benefits removed. A very good example is sifted maize meal or wheat meal. And then when you do that, those nutrients that the body would benefit from, they are lacking. A big contradiction is that when you remove some of these nutrients from the human food, we are feeding them to livestock. A very big contradiction. We are feeding them to livestock. So then we are also eating foods that have a lot of artificial supplements, foods that have a lot of sugar, refined table sugar. When you do that, particularly with refined table sugar, is that you end up disrupting the normal immunity balance for the body. The body tends to be very acidic, as opposed to being alkaline or being balanced between alkalinity and acidity. And then when that happens, the body's immune system, our ability to control our health naturally goes down. When it goes down, then you become a very good candidate for diseases. Depending on your point of weakness, you could start by one disease like diabetes. It could be hypertension, it could be asthma, it could be ulcers, it could be gastritis. But what happens is, then over time, you find that your body is gradually becoming weakened. And that's what you find very, very common in our society today.
I think there's a lot, Daktari, that you can give the voice of reason in as far as that area is concerned.
Yes.
But I want to cut you short
Yes.
there so that we can proceed to, to the second question before we take a break, because we only have some 2 minutes to our break. Now, Kenya is a huge market for foreign pharmaceutical industry or companies. And do you still think that there is any space that is left for herbal medicine in this country?
Now, the space is there, and maybe the space is not being created by our will, but
Yes.
by the desire for there to be space. It's being created by the fact that we are coming to the realization that what we call modern medicine or Western medicine has got its own limitations. Today, if you walk around and interact with the people, you'll find a lot of patients who are asthmatic. They have been on inhaler medications for a long time,
Yes.
and they are not cured. They are maintained somewhat,
Yes.
but over time, their conditions get worse. The same thing happens with the diabetics. The same thing happens with the hypertensives. But when you combine those kind of treatments, those
Yes.
kind of therapies with natural therapies,
Yes.
you do get to additional benefits that you would not get if you are only relying on this modern medicine or Western medicine itself. So I'm a practitioner, and
Yes.
I've seen a lot of patients in various therapeutic areas.
Yeah.
I've seen patients coming to me with blood sugars very elevated, and they are on medications, and the medications are not responding. When we cleanse and detox their bodies, then their bodies respond better to these medical treatments. So there is room for natural therapy.
Okay.
There is room for herbalism, only that we have to do it in the right way.
Okay.
We have to use the right personnel, and we have to mainstream the therapy. And the government also needs to bring in resources so that we can do this practice
Yes.
in a way that is applicable, the way that is helpful, and the way that it will be impactful to the society.
Yeah.
But also for us as individuals, as society, I think we also need to look at our attitudes, because what happens is there are some biases that we inherited from where, and we just carried them forward,
Yes.
and we have not questioned them.
I'm
Questioned them.
getting you, Daktari, and
Yes,
I really feel you.
Yes.
I really feel you when you say that even us as a society,
Yes.
we also need to embrace. We need to change our attitude. I know this is there. It is very, very much there. The society out there, looks at you and they think
Yes.
you're funny when you're talking about.
They think you are a co-op.
Yeah.
And I said, remember that all of us are practicing
Yes.
herbalists.
Okay, we'll get back to that, Daktari, because we are going for a break. Viewers, this is the voice of reason. Remember, today's topic is about natural therapy, or what we normally call herbal medicine, with Dr. Njururi Mutahi. Now, we're going to take a break, but as we come back, don't go away. The voice of reason will be right back.